Hello and welcome to this very special presentation of Matt's B-Movie Reviews, the show that looks at cult films that may have escaped your radar. I'm Matt and I'm here to share 13 horror movies you can watch on YouTube in their entirety for free right now. It's all for educational purposes. All links are in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. But anyway, we've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's get on with the list. Number 1. Cemetery Man, aka DELLAMORE, DELLAMORE. Rupert Grint stars in this European art film in disguise as caretaker of the local cemetery. The problem is, the dead won't stay dead. It's unusual, funny, very gory, and quite frankly needs to be seen to be believed. This movie is criminally underrated and has only slowly gained the cult audience it so much deserves since its debut back in 1994. The gags come as thick and fast as the gore itself, and I've never seen Rupert Everett in a movie quite as watchable as this before or since.
Stop killing the dead.
So take a ride in this surreal tale today.
Please don't. He's only eating.
Move aside.
Mind your business. I shall be eaten by whoever I please.
This is my business. They pay me for it.
Number 2. Popcorn. Set in a cinema during a special all-night horror-thon, a group of teens are in for a bloody night as a mysterious killer bludgeons his way through the audience. 1991's Popcorn is a fun, campy and occasionally heartfelt slasher film made to celebrate the world of horror and B-movie flicks. In a world oversaturated in Jason, Freddy and Michael Myers, Popcorn delivers a truly unique killer with a believable backstory that really adds depth to this unusual slasher movie. Oh, and there's a Dee Wallace cameo in there, so check it out.
I will be the possessor. I wonder.
Number 3. John Carpenter's Body Bags. Released in 1993 as a TV movie and possibly a pilot for a Tales from the Crypt-esque series, Body Bags is an anthology horror movie with 3 tales of terror, hosted, strangely, by Carpenter himself.
Oh my. Oh, better.
Story 1 follows a killer stalking an attendant at an all-night gas station. 2 is about a middle-aged man who'll do anything to keep from going bald. And 3 stars Mark Hamill as a man who loses his eye in a car wreck only to get a transplant that has a murderous agenda.
If I let you touch it, I'll have to let everybody else touch it.
It's not Carpenter's best, but it's far from his worst. Overall, a fun movie that's disappeared into the obscure backlog of VHS history. Check it out today, if not just for Mark Hamill's crazy performance in The Eye.
Give me a big old stab wound to poke around in, then I'm happy.
Number 4. 1985's Demons. Receiving a free movie ticket, a girl and her friend go to a horror movie premiere. Unfortunately, a deadly demonic infection spreads through the crowd, and as the doors get locked, the terror begins. Directed by Lamberto Bava and written by Dario Argento, Demons is a fine Italian horror flick that blends full throttle gore with great creature effects and a banging soundtrack. Funny, scary and basically a horror masterpiece in my opinion. See this original before the much talked about remake gets out of development hell. Oh, and as much as I love this film, the audio dubbing is pretty hilarious.
Quiet! Quiet! Be quiet! Quiet! Listen to me!
Number 5. House. Roger Cobb moves into his late aunt's spooky house to work on his latest novel. However, this house has many secrets and, quite possibly, a doorway to another world. Released in 1986, House is a horror comedy in a similar vein to Evil Dead 2.
Come on! Just stop moving, for Christ's sake!
As frequently as the monsters appear, so does the over-the-top laughs. Overall, House is a fun popcorn horror flick that's worth catching. Just remember this one thing.
This house knows everything about you. Leave while you can.
Number 6. Witchboard. A woman makes friends with a seemingly friendly spirit using a Ouija board. Unfortunately, as people close to her begin to die, it seems as an evil force intent on nothing but destruction. Another 86 movie here, possibly the first Ouija-based horror flick that I'm aware of, although I've got to admit it's a somewhat by-the-numbers low-budget horror effort. Occasionally scary, it's worth seeing as an 80s oddity alone. To be fair though, it's actually better than the god-awful 2014 Ouija movie. 7. City of the Living Dead. A reporter races to stop hell on earth as a satanic zombie priest spreads evil and death around the city. Part of the Gates of Hell trilogy and a typical Lucy Fulci horror movie full of his staple jump scares, unusual storyline and bad audio dubbing. This movie shouldn't work, but strangely it does. It's a free-gate atmospheric horror movie with more going for it than most horror movies that have been released in the last 10 years. See it if you dare. Number 8. CREEPSHOW 2. A comic book anthology sequel which consists of 3 terror tales based on stories by Stephen King. So we get an old Indian statue coming to life to exact revenge, a blob-like monster that traps a group of teens on a raft in the middle of a lake, and the tale of a deceased hitchhiker who really wants a lift. It's not quite on par with the first movie, but it's still bloody good fun, and in my opinion it's great to watch at any time of the year. If you're a fan of Tales from the Crypt, you'll love this movie. Oh, and it even manages to feature a cameo by Stephen King himself as an unsympathetic truck driver.
Hey, what's happening?
What do you think's happening? The guy got creamed, that's what happened. Happens all the time.
Number 9. Night of the Demons. A group of teenagers party on Halloween night at an abandoned funeral home. However, they soon encounter an evil force that starts turning the guests into demonic monsters. Night of the Demons is a cheesy 1988 released comedy horror starring Return of the Living Dead's Lynn Quigley in another raunchy zombie-esque role.
Do you guys have sour balls?
This is a great film to watch with friends and a never-ending keg of beer. What's the worst that can happen? Go give it a look-see now.
Stop looking at me.
Number 10. George A. Romero's The Crazies. When a man-made virus turns inhabitants of a small town crazy, a group of survivors try to make it out past the military to escape the madness before it's too late.
What kind of virus? You know what it is?
Whitmire just said it was highly contagious, and it's dangerous.
Oh my God, maybe that's what he's got.
Now, before Romero made his zombie sequel Dawn of the Dead, he created this film which brims with similar political and social themes. It's a 1973 grainy gut punch of a film and shows how humanity is doomed under a government that shoots first and asks questions later. Anyone watching the Trump-Hillary debate will agree it's never been more relevant. This movie is more than a footnote in history, it's a solid film and it should be seen by all. Quite frankly, you'd be crazy to miss it, right? Terrible joke, I know.
There, your husband downstairs.
Number 11. Brain Dead, aka Dead Alive. When Lionel's mother is bitten by a rat monkey, she contracts the zombie virus and soon starts spreading it to the inhabitants of a small New Zealand town. Poor Lionel's gonna have to take care of his mother once and for all to save himself and the woman he loves from the undead hordes. Directed by Peter Jackson before he got lost in making those generic fantasy epics, you know, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, etc.
What do you think I am? A goddamn doctor?
His comic and horrific timing is well on display as we're treated to laugh-out-loud screams and gory close-up zombie kills. If there's ever been a movie screaming out for a 4K transfer, this is it.
I kick ass for the Lord!
The movie also features the most blood used on screen, 500 gallons to be exact, in an extended zombie kill sequence involving Lionel and a lawnmower. Here's hoping Jackson finds his way back to these types of movies after making the final Tolkien novel that's in development.
Party's over.
Number 12. Campfire Tales. A homeless man tells a group of kids some creepy stories around a fire involving the dangers of smoking dope, the real meaning of Christmas, and about some bloodthirsty pirates. Starring the late great and original Leatherface himself, Gunnar Hansen, this is a very cheap anthology movie that feels put together in a that'll do sort of way. So why did I bother including it in this list? Because it's a deleted title that manic fans of the anthology genre format will no doubt want to check out. See it if you've got some time on a lazy afternoon, and be ready with the fast forward button if you start to get a little bit sleepy. Ugh.
This has all natural ingredients. So just shut up and smoke.
Number 13. The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. As some new chemical pesticides are used on crops in the countryside, the dead begin to come back and attack the living. But can a couple work out the answers to sending them back to the grave for good before the world is overrun with walking corpses? Who knows? The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue is a sort of in-colour Italian version to Romero's Night of the Living Dead. However, it has genuine heart and atmosphere, making it a definitive classic in its own right. If you're a true fan of Italian horror cinema, then this movie, along with a few that I've mentioned on this list, are a complete must-see. It's basically a very atmospheric horror movie and a good portrait of what was going on at the time. Check it out today.
What the hell are you raving about, man?
Craig, when a person dies, perhaps the nervous system goes on living for a while.
So we've come to the end. That was my personal 13 must-see horror classics that are on YouTube. I highly recommend checking them out while they're live on YouTube now, and also to buy the remastered version as they become available on DVD and Blu-ray. It's always great to see titles like this uploaded onto YouTube because video stores no longer exist, which is such a shame in this day and age. Don't forget to drop me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and subscribe to my channel for more horror recommendations in the future, plus some of my own horror shorts that I create throughout the year. So get out of here, go and check out some of those titles for yourself, and if you start to get freaked out, just keep repeating to yourself, it's just a movie, it's just a movie, it's just a movie.